in every relationship, there's a way of talking. And this habit, I must go back 70 years with my mother. My mother, as I told you in my book,
Yes.
my father was a very angry man. He used to start beating, shouting, screaming on the drop of a hat. And my mother was the calm person. And not being Punjabi and Jewish, the combination. And that's what you see. He used to lose his temper on everything, mostly on me. And the amount of badminton rackets that he's broken on my back, I have lost count of it. But all said and done, my mother used to save me always. But she was kept calm. But when he was calm and he was receptive to this thing, my mother used to take his case. Because she found ab thoda thande hai dad. Ab papa thande hai.
I Did It My Way is a story of love, loss, regret, and wisdom. And that's the tagline of the book, I Did It My Way, which I had the honor of penning. But the story is so interesting because it goes beyond these words. And today I have Mr. Rajan Lall, whose biography it is, and his son, Nikhil, who we are going to talk to. And both of them, interestingly, also work together. The father and son working together in one office. How do you solve your differences? And tell me, how is the environment when you're together? Sir, first, you, and then we'll talk about it.
Nikhil and me have been working together for the last 23 odd years. About 22, 23 years. And when he came straight from college after graduation in the US, he had an idea of what we were doing basically from India. But this here, when he came, he got to learn the business of manufacturing hangers, which we do for the American market. But that was not the only thing to be. And over a period of years, I think Nikhil had been responsible to a great extent for diversifying the business and convincing me to do it, because now we have 3 verticals. And that also happened by chance, but Nikhil was hands-on that. And we make batteries for Mr. Surinder Kandhari of Exide, and we make buckets for the paint industry. So we have 3 verticals here, and we have factories in Jebel Ali, in Dubai, and in Jordan, in Kenya, and Lesotho in South Africa. And that is what we do, and Nikhil handles all the 4 factories. And he has picked up a lot business and basically comes every day with a new idea. Dad, let's do this, let's do that, let's do that. I have actually to hold him back. What are you doing? One day he comes and says, let's do this project, let's do this project. I said, listen, man, I am done. I'm 76 years old, and I'm not going to do anything. You do what you have to do. I'll back you, support you, guide you.
Right.
But I want to take a back seat because I want to enjoy the rest of my life and live a little longer if possible.
Right.
So he has been a great calming effect on me. I mean, things like when I used to go to the factory every day and look into the production and the rejection or the cycle time, or start shouting and screaming at the workers or the managers or the supervisors. I used to do that as a regular habit because, when it's your own baby, you tend to do that. And you want everything working, or go up in the accounts and check with the accountant, with the banks, where the money has come in, whom you have to pay. Even look into petty cash of 1 dirham, 2 dirhams and all, which I quietly still do, though he stopped me. But I still look into it, but a little more with a little macro eyes rather than micromanaging.
So can we say that he has diluted your anxiety?
He has diluted my anxiety, but also when he talked to me about it, it's the way he talked. You see, in every relationship, there's a way of talking. And this habit, I must go back 70 years with my mother. My mother, as I told you in my book,
Yes.
my father was a very angry man. He used to start beating, shouting, screaming at the drop of a hat. And my mother was the calm person, and not being Punjabi and Jewish, the combination. And that's what you see. He used to lose his temper on everything, mostly on me. And the amount of badminton rackets that he's broken on my back, I have lost count of it. But all said and done, my mother used to save me always. But she was kept calm. But when he was calm and he was receptive to this thing, my mother used to take his case. Because she found ab thoda thande hai dad, ab papa thande hai. Then she used to lock the door and then take his case and teach him a lesson in her own way. What
You see the traces
I
in
see
him?
that traces.
So your grandmother's influenced you.
So
as
that
well.
is the traces I find in him. You see, it's a time and when. Unlike my elder son, who always confronted me. Always, when I said something, he replied back. When he said something, he replied back. That is what causes confrontation and rift.
Right.
Now, that's why I said they're chalk and cheese. Nikhil is a very diplomatic person.
Libran as well.
And,
That's right.
and Amit is a very good heart, golden heart, everything. But he confronts and he creates issues and struggles. Right?
He's also Libran, my brother.
Okay.
He's also Libran.
We're both Librans.
He's 17th October, he's 6th October. And his mother is 6th
Also
October.
Libra.
Okay, you share your birthday with your mom.
So that is the difference. So coming back to this, that is what he was the calming effect on me. And that I must say that I'm so happy to hear that my son has been able to change me to a great extent.
How beautiful.
And it has changed me.
Nice.
But something that I'm still trying to change in my son is for him not to get any more driving tickets. That's another story. I mean, he is actually supporting the RTA.
Really? I think you
I
went
like to
back to the
drive
first
fast.
car. I think that was probably you didn't
Yeah,
have any
yeah.
driving
No,
license back
he
then.
I always
just
liked cars.
bought a Porsche Taycan electric car.
Right.
And
You don't know
what
how
to
fast
tell
you
you,
go.
I mean, they are coming with an IPO out now, RTA. And he has
Thanks to
contributed majorly to it, I must say.
So Nikhil, tell me, when your father says that to you, when you actually dealt with those moods of his, when he was
Yeah.
angry, was it natural for you to be the calming effect, or you learnt it?
I mean, it's...
Let me stop you here.
Yeah,
Nikhil is the son of his father,
that's no doubt.
who has a very bad temper.
Correct.
Very, very bad temper. And it's sometimes gets bad. We've just redone the office, and we've got a glass partition. We've built frosted glass now. So every time he shouts, I put the frosted glass, hoping that it might crack. But on a serious note, he has that DNA of his grandfather and his father, that he loses his temper very, very quickly.
That's true.
And that is something that I keep telling him in a nicer way, is to cool down. And imagine me telling him to cool down when I was like that, because it reminds me of him. And that is something that he has to really work on and completely control himself, whether it's his employees, whether it's his workers, whether it's his friends, whether it's his wife, whether it's his children, associates. He has to start cooling down and having a very cool temper. That's one thing which I think only that he needs to work on. The rest is, he is absolutely a wonderful son and a very affectionate son. And during my illness and health problem which I had for the last 2.5 years, he has been absolutely outstanding and taken care of me and got me out of harm's way. And I'm so proud of that he has taken care of me. I'll give you an example. The day I got my heart attack, it was after my knee surgery in Mediclinic. The next day morning, I got a heart attack after my knee surgery. And he had gone to Abu Dhabi, I think, to meet his wife,
My doctor.
doctor or
Yeah.
something. He said, Dad, you've done your surgery. I'm going to Abu Dhabi tomorrow, so I'll see you later. The surgery is over, everything's fine. He was in Abu Dhabi. When I had the heart attack the next morning, the doctor phoned him up. And that Dad had a heart attack. He left from that hospital. I think he must have got about 9 or 10 speeding tickets.
12 tickets.
12 speeding tickets coming from Abu Dhabi to there. He
You-
got
you
12
drove in a
speeding
frenzy.
tickets in such a frenzy that he came charging. He just got 12 speeding tickets to reach home. So all this shows
Love.
the amount of love and affection that he has. I mean, he's not very expressive with his affections, and neither am I. But we would love to work on that sometimes and talk and sit and love expression, not kiss you on the cheeks. Just
But I think in the podcast you've expressed quite a
yeah,
bit of love
but
towards each
but
other.
this conversation, has opened up a lot of opportunities to talk about things
Each
and
other.
what
Sure.
is good, which is good.
Good.
And so this is what I'm saying about how much I care and love you for. And sometimes I'm not well, and he cares. You want, okay, are you okay? Are you? He's that kind of a loving son.
Tell me about him as a granddad. 2 granddaughters he has.
I mean,
Both
it's
your daughters.
yeah. I mean, the dad always wanted girls. He was always, fond of having daughters, so because we were always sons in all generations. His father,
4 generations
four
of
generations of sons. So the fact that I have 2 girls, now he's giddy with love with those 2 girls.
I just love them.
Yeah, and it's really nice because I've never seen dad.
And you mentioned that your older one is like him.
Yeah, she's very headstrong.
She's very headstrong.
She takes, if she stands on something, you can't move her, right? So she's kind of like him on that.
And she also likes music.
She loves music. Oh my God, this one was dancing at the age of 2.
She was dancing.
She
dances
just
all the
loves
time.
music.
You just
for
put the
sure.
music on, you start
And she's like,
dancing.
yeah, absolutely. So
So the apples didn't fall far away
no,
from the tree.
not at all. Not at all. No doubt. But dad, I mean, I have a lot of these qualities of the temper. There's no doubt about that. My wife has helped me with that to kind of cool it down a little bit. I think having kids helps with that because I don't want to show that to my kids. So that, try and...
And they're also stress busters.
Yeah, exactly. Especially at this age.
Yeah.
They're really nice. So that helps.
I don't know about stress buster, but there's stress, yes. Sleeping at night, getting enough sleep, waking up, feeding.
Yeah, now she's 6
That's
weeks
a lot
old,
of
so
The
it's
younger
a
one.
little
Yeah.
tougher. But as far as the diplomatic thing and dealing with dad aspect of things, it took a long time for me to understand how to deal with that. I think when I first joined him in business, first of all, I got to know him and understand. So I was, I think, first 4 or 5 years, dad mentioned that he's, sees himself as being a very good observer. I think I'm the same way. I think it took me 4 or 5 years to observe him before I could have a strategy on how to handle him and how, if I wanted to change in the business, how I should be able to do it and how he can see my point of view.
Right. Also the fact that you mentioned in the past that you admired him for the fact that there were times when people betrayed him and somebody
Yeah.
he supported,
Sure.
one of the businesses that he supported.
Correct.
And he could have gotten back to her because you went to investigate the fraud,
We caught her red-handed and all that stuff. So
and he forgave her.
not only that, he has an existing relationship with her till today. Calls her on her birthday, speaks to her on a regular basis. I'm in shock. I can't stand this woman, right? And it's just to me, it's just how can you deal with that? For
But
him,
that's
he's
not
just
the only person, right? There are several.
several. I mean, this is one person that I
And
can
he's
think
maintained-
of. Every person that he's had any issue with in life, he
Is this-
still has a good relationship. Not any relationship.
How do you manage that? How do you manage that? It's very tough to manage. that.
It is tough, you see, especially people who have stabbed you in the back or let you or caused you a major financial loss.
Harm, yeah.
Especially. I mean, I still meet them, I still hug them, I still call them to my parties, I still play cards with them and socialize with them. But my thinking is a little different. He did this to me. That was his karma. By my hitting back at him or being rude to him or cutting him out, how many people can you cut off in this world? Everybody is different. Everybody does something or the other.
But you don't have a boundary then, or keep
no,
a
but
watchful
no, but inside
eye?
you have a shield which you make. This man has let me down, or this woman has let me down. I'll be good friends, good acquaintances. We'll meet, we'll talk as if nothing happened. But I would never do business with him. You know, I draw the line there. I have close friends even
So
from
you
Bombay.
can make a difference between
whom I said that
personal-
when it comes to business, I would never do business with them because you realize that this plan is not meant for business. But they come home, they stay with me from Bombay, whatever, but never do business with them. And my one thing I learned very early in life, which I think I should mention in my talk to you, is the easiest way to lose a friend or a relative is to loan them money.
Loan them
Loan
money.
them money.
Yeah.
I made it my principle very early in life that I would not loan money to anybody, whether it's a relative, whether it's a son, whether it's a wife, whether it's nobody, and I would not borrow from anybody if I can help it. And if I do, which I have, I would pay that person back with interest and pay him on time when I've committed to pay on time. That is the key of any man's success.
It's also integrity.
You see,
right?
it's an integrity built with banks, with friends, with customers, with your creditors, is that when you can pay, you have to pay on time, and if you can't, you have to inform them that I can't pay you, I have to pay you, I'll pay you after X time, 15 days, 20 days, whatever it is, but tell them, not run away from it or not pick up their phones, you know. This is a habit which I would like him to inculcate. And these are things that goes a very long way in life. Punctuality, the reputation of being a good paymaster, or if you are in dire straits, to go and express to that person, listen, I need this money, I'll give it back to you, I'll give it with you interest, otherwise I don't want it. And if somebody comes asking me for money, whether it's 1,000 dirhams, I'll say I have it, but I'm not giving it. Because I will not only lose that 1,000, but I'll also lose the friend. And this, the faster you learn this in life, these little things, the better.
Right.
So these are little things which I have learned over the period of years with people who have stabbed you, and the people who have mentored you, or whatever else has happened.
Can you do it? Can you imbibe this quality possibly, or is it?
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, he doesn't have money anyway. There are countless times, I don't remember him having more than 50 or 100 dirham in this. He never carries money. He said, Dad, you want got money? I said, where's your money? It's in the bank. I'll give it. I said, why don't you carry money? Conjuice number one. He is very good with his money.
But that's a good thing.
He's always
The
got
fact
a tight fist, which is a very good thing in business.
Yes.
He's not a spendthrift.
Right.
And, you know, when he travels, he'll travel in the right economy class, or if necessary, business class. His hotels, he will look at the best prices. These are all traits I notice. And I find that those traits are there
Very
of me, which I have imbibed, and he's got them in naturally or whatever it is. But these are good things in life which will take him in a long way in life.
Right.
But if you're extravagant and in Dubai, it's very easy to get carried away. You know, people over leverage themselves because their business is doing well,
flashiness
their
of-
flashiness. It's very easy to get carried by the Joneses.
Yeah, correct.
So and he's kept his head on his shoulders. He has selected his friends whom he wants to be friends with. He doesn't mix with my friend circle whose children are spoiled.
Okay.
You know, he keeps away from them. So these are good things. And when he does come with me like a Diwali party or my birthday, when he meets them, he meets everybody nicely and great talk. Everybody talks very highly about him. What a great son you have. And I feel so happy and proud that when they talk so highly about you.
Right.
There's an incident which I think Nikhil also doesn't know. We had gone to San Francisco and we stayed with Rajan.
Yeah.
And he's an old friend of mine, who's a billionaire with a 15-room mansion staying on a hill.
Yeah.
So we were staying there together, and he has a rickety old lift.
Okay.
And I went into the lift, closed the door, and the lift stopped. It just stopped midway. And I started shouting and I told him, I said, Raj, my lift has got stopped. He panicked. He panicked and he panicked in such a way. And when I came out, Raj took me on the side. He said, Rajan, you know what? He said, your son really loves you a lot. I said, why? He said, when you got stuck, you should have seen his face. He noticed it. He said, you should have seen his face. He was so scared and panicked. He said, that's how much he loves you. Do you realize that? I said, no, I didn't realize that. But I don't think he even knows that.
I don't remember that. So.
Yeah.
So I think when you're caught off guard,
Off guard,
is
yeah.
when
guard,
you
yeah.
actually see the
Yeah.
love.
So these are little things that show you don't have to express your love every day and hug him and kiss him every day. But I know at the back of my mind that if there is need and I need him, he will be there with me, beside me. That is a very comforting feeling for a man of my age who's been through so much
health
health-wise.
Came back to you,
Yeah, after
trying
many
to
years.
discover you and find out what my father is like. And
What he was. I'm basically a good guy.
well, I can vouch for it,
Yeah.
knowing all the incidences. Right.
Yeah, he is. I mean, as far as being a mentor in business and stuff, he's been very good. He's, but definitely difficult to work with, not easy. He's not the easiest guy to work with.
But then those are the people you remember. You remember your strictest
Yeah,
teachers.
yeah, exactly.
You probably don't remember the most loving teachers.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And also,
No, I would say I'm a difficult taskmaster.
correct.
I'm a very difficult taskmaster because I need things done in a certain way.
I did it my way.
And and I want them done in a certain way, and that's something that if he realizes it in the right sense of the word, picks it up and imbibes it, good. But it's not done in a malicious way. It's done to make somebody better. But even my staff, most of my staff are with me for 30 years, 35, 45 years. Somewhere after all the hitting of the table, what do you call that?
Paperweight.
Paperweight.
Paperweight at them and shouting and screaming
Okay,
at them.
that way.
They
That
still
way.
love me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they tell me, sir, आपने बहुत दिन से चिल्लाया नहीं. Are you okay? So, and it's all with love because I've done more than that besides that. So it's not just the screaming, shouting. Basically, you're good at heart. You mean them well, and they're all. They know that I'm always there for them,
Right.
whatever they need. So these are things which are, it's.
And it's a change of philosophy, like when you run the company the way Dad ran the company. He ran the company because he's a founder. He is the one that took the risk. He was the one that, put his money in and started it from scratch. So there's a different sentiment that you have with your business, which I completely understand because I ran that. I also did that with my other business in the music business. So I understand the sentiment that you're really, really close to that, right? So I'm very aware of that sentiment. But also, when you want to grow the business, sometimes you have to delegate, and you have to have a little bit of an hands-off approach, so that you can look at the larger picture. Yeah.
Together.
And if today our business has grown to a size that if you look at micromanaging everyone, you just won't be able to do the macro stuff of growing the business. And I think that's something that I've been trying to do, and slowly but surely, Dad has kind of got on board, and he's kind of seen the approach has been a good approach, and we've been able to grow the business. But he also, not to say that, checking of the petty cash and all those other things are not important. I think those are elements that I still take in. And I feel like sometimes I do need to check once in a while. Sometimes I do need to micromanage a certain person because I think this guy is kind of going off, needs fixing. So it's not that I've completely thrown that off the shelf. I use those as ammunition when I need them in my armor,
Right.
but not all the time. But I also have to have my own approach to the business.
That is basically
easy
this
for you to delegate?
micromanaging what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Is basically a habit. It's a protective shield that I created around me because I was the owner of the company and running 5 offices in India and 5 factories in the Middle East. And there was no second in command at that time before Nikhil.
trust.
So I had to prepare a protective shield against me for anything going wrong, especially with money.
Yeah. Especially
Right
with
to
remote
trust.
remote companies.
Especially with 5 factories in different
parts of the world. Yeah.
So it is not that, but when these guys know that the boss is checking the petty cash or the expenses and everything goes through him with his signature on the voucher, I don't really read that. I pass through it and keep signing it. I don't know what the hell is there. But it's a psychological
Just
thing.
authority there.
No, it's a psychological thing that they know the boss is checking every expense. And that's what keeps them on their toes. I don't know, I've sometimes passed bills and all, but in the middle, I take out 2-3 bills and start shouting and tear the bill and throw it away. So it's not caught. So I don't know what that is, whether it's right or not, but I do it. It's more of a psychological thing because that psychological fear has to be there all the time with them, that the boss is knowing what's going on, even down to the penny.
So are you more comfortable to delegate today?
No, today I have delegated most of it. I go to office there.
So Dad's approach is a very true. He kind of rules the business with fear. I try and do it differently. I try and not use fear as my aspiration. But I feel like if everybody's fearful, then they're going to do it because
of fear.
But I think that people work better when they take responsibility for what their job is, rather than the fear part.
Right.
If they're responsible, then they're eventually going to get caught. Okay, I may not catch them today, but I will catch them tomorrow because they didn't take responsibility for their position and their job and the company eventually, and therefore they're not going to be successful. My approach is a little bit delayed.
Yeah.
But I feel like as the business grows, I think for him it was easier because the business was smaller, and then to control that also, he has no second in command as a lone business person. But for me, I kind of think that the approach is good to change at this stage in the business, where I can't micromanage so many people. I can't have fear to rule, because even in this generation today, it's very different from his generation when he started.
Yeah.
When he started in the 1970s and 80s, fear was extremely effective.
Yeah.
Today, if I rule with fear, people will leave, and I'm going to have a hard time with turnover in my staff. And people now, in younger generation, you kidding me? You speak to them badly and they're out.
They're hurt.
They're hurt. Everybody's hurt. Everybody's so sensitive nowadays, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So if I do that, I'm not going to be successful. I know that. So I had to change to be their friend, to kind of have that open door policy that you have an issue, come and talk to me about it.
But you still was. It's something.
Yeah, of course, you have to have that, you have to have that, I'm still the boss and I still, make sure that you do the job. But you also have to have that empathy and that element to be like, okay, I have an open door, talk to me, you have an issue.
But that things have changed over the years. I mean, when I was running the show, he said, right, we were ruling with fear. Because in India, you needed that.
Yeah.
Now, as time passed by, I even talk to my servants or to my driver and say thank you to them. And after dinner, they say thank you for dinner, thank you for making it, or thank you for taking me out at night, whatever. I still do that because those little things count for them.
Correct.
So that is how the generation has changed today. So you talk to them with aap, or you say with respect, put their arm around you on their shoulder and say thank you.
Right.
Those things count.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you one thing. You said that because of course, so many years of experience and knowing so many people, you can gauge somebody in a matter of minutes. How do you, in a working space, how do you still, you know the person is in a certain way, but you still keep.
You know them. You know who they are, what they are, and what is their depth, or what is the level of their understanding, and you know that. So it's become second nature to me. I just know when I meet somebody and sit with them for 10 minutes, I know this guy is not going to work out. Or this guy can work out, but only up to this distance. Don't expect anything more from him. And that works out with employees, with relatives, with friends. I mean, you meet so many friends. My social circle is so big. And 90% of them are empty vessels. They make the most sound. And you switch off. When somebody starts talking about yourself that I am this and I am that and I am doing this and my money is this and my car is this and my house is this, you switch off. That means the guy's got no depth. The person who's got depth will always keep his mouth shut and observe. So when somebody is talking too much, you know that it's all sham. So I sit down and observe them. I say, okay, switch off. It's an automatic system, switch off.
Do you imbibe the quality?
I do. I think the observation is something that I definitely have and picked up from him. He always has taught me to listen more than to speak, which I do a lot. And I also try and assess people accordingly, of how he's taught me to. We've had multiple conversations about what do you think of this guy? Oh, I think, and I'm like, okay, I thought the same thing. Okay, we're on the same track.
These are little things which you learn over a period of time, and they help you in life in making decisions. Like when I'm interviewing somebody, I don't look at the CV. I just talk to him.
True.
I just keep the CV down and talk to him, and after 10-15 minutes decide. The CV is not important. It's the person you deal with that's important.
Yeah. And Dad always has a thing that, when you're doing a deal or whatever, even if it's for 5 minutes, he's like, just let's do a face-to-face. That's been a very big thing with him. He always likes the face-to-face.
The energy is...
Yeah, he's just like, okay, phone conversation, Zoom calls, forget all that.
Right.
He's like, let's do a face-to-face. Get him to the house, to talk to him here. Bring him for coffee or whatever, even if it's a 5-minute meeting.
Right.
He really wants that.
Yeah.
Because I think that he really puts a lot of value to when you have a face-to-face.
And that energy is very...
yeah. And you can kind of assess people better over face-to-face than over a phone call or Zoom call or whatever.
That's you can't make out on a Zoom call, you can't make out on a phone call.
Yeah.
When you're seeing face-to-face. When you look in the eye, you can make out.
Yeah, correct.
But that comes from experience.
Yeah,
It's not,
correct.
it's not in any textbook.
Right.
Yeah.
And another thing, before we end, is it's a very important thing which I must share with the audience here, is that I learned after my illness, after my 3-4 heart attacks and my valve replacement and whatever else shit I went through, when I was lying in the ICU with needles in me and everything on my chest and sitting there alone and saying, it makes you realize what are you working for? What are you running for? You want to buy this property, you want to buy this car, you want to buy this watch, you want to buy those clothes, you want to have this, you want to have... And it all ends here. Tomorrow you stop breathing, it's all finished. So what are you running after? What are you doing? You've done that. You've been there, done that. You've done everything. You have a comfortable life. You have enough. What do you need all this for? And we keep thinking about it and stressing about it. So the biggest killer, and I tell all my friends, and I'm telling like Nikhil and you and everybody, is the biggest killer today is your stress. And it's a silent killer.
Yes.
And it will kill you. And I asked them a very simple question, and this is like the end of my talk today, is by stressing, does it solve the problem? Answer me a simple question.
It never does.
Never does.
It never does. So I said, then why are you stressing? So when a problem does happen, you try to find a solution to it, or try to solve it, or it's a problem, it needs to be tackled. You need to confront it. By stressing with it and then going berserk, crazy, stressing, sleepless nights, you're killing yourself. And this is what kills a lot of people. I've seen my friends die on the table desk with a blood vessel burst after they shouted or something, or they stressed or something. They've just dropped dead. And I keep telling them, I said, do you want to do that? Because stress is not a solution. And this is something that you have to train yourself for. Nobody taught me that.
You've also had a lot of friends from the film industry who've succumbed to early deaths.
Yes, they have. But this is happening, this is normal with everybody. You see? It's normal with everybody. Now, I'll give you Nikhil's example, for example. I'm sure that when he gets his fines for driving his car, it's not because he wants to drive fast. Please look at it very carefully. He has on his car. You have a speedometer coming on the screen, which you can see while you're driving. So you know what speed you're driving at. You think he doesn't look at the speedometer, but when he's driving and he's getting fines at high speeding, it's because he is thinking
About
of something else, or he's stressed about something else. He's either had a problem in the office, or he had a fight with his wife, or he's had an issue with something, and that's what troubling him, and he's
That's true.
It's self-harm.
That's very true,
pressing the accelerator.
Yeah, it's self-harm.
Yeah.
He's pressing the accelerator because he's not looking at the speed at which he's going, but he's worried about the fight he had with his wife, or the trouble he had in the office,
Correct.
or with a friend. And that is what happens to him. The moment he stops that, his speeding tickets will end.
Correct. Very true, actually.
So we started with speeding tickets and we are completing it with speeding tickets.
No, I've been trying to assess what is the cause of that, because this is not a 300, 400
No, it's a
ticket.
lot of money.
It's a lot of money. I told you, if he's financing the RTA, this is a lot of money.
Yeah.
But it can happen once, it can happen twice, which is repeatedly happening now for quite some time.
And I'm generally good with money. So the fact that this
and
happens
he's,
is
and
like...
he's generally good for this particular thing. The company doesn't pay.
Yeah, that's my personal...
That's
With
my
your
rule.
personal money.
He
100%.
goes from his personal salary.
Always.
That's the strictness.
So in spite of that,
yeah,
in spite of that, when he knows it's going from his personal salary, he's still doing it repeatedly. So there is something wrong somewhere which he needs to rectify.
Some self-sabotage happening.
Then no, you needs to sit down and focus at the place where you're driving. You're driving.
Yeah.
Then stop thinking about.
You got to be in the moment.
And then be in the
there.
moment, live there, reach there, sit down, think about it. That is, and I think that will stop.
Yeah.
So that's
Very
something
true.
which before going I would like to tell is, don't take stress on anything because it solves nothing. And I have learned that, and I'm a very happy man. Like today you called up today and you said, Dad, we have a problem. What's the problem? This happened. I think we a major thing, it will cost us a lot of money. I said, don't worry. Do this. Plan A, plan B, plan C. Don't worry. If it happens, it happens. It's happened. What do you do?
Yeah. But
So
all morning and afternoon, that's all I could think about.
That's all you were thinking about. And I had a shower, got ready, came here, and you're sitting and talking lightly as if nothing happened.
Yeah.
So no
But
stress.
I don't stress about it.
I think the no
If it-
stress policy, golden words.
It's the absolute, I'm telling you, the crux and the truth of everything in life what we do. Because not 99 but 100% of us are always having stress at some point or the other.
Right.
And we think we're not, but you do.
So we'll have these kinds of lessons
do.
and more from the next episode onwards.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you again. It was lovely
Thank
speaking
you.
to both of you again.
Thanks a lot.